Ali, what do you think? I think we're switched on.
I think. And
Let's allow the students to join in, maybe soak in 30 more seconds so
yeah,
they
we
can
are
join
live.
us the session.
I can see you live. So let's wait just a couple of seconds before I.
Yeah. Let's wait all of a few students to join us. Okay, Ali, let's go for it.
All right. Hello, Atik. How are you?
I'm doing well, Ali. How are you?
Good, thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third series of PTE Do and Don'ts. In the previous 2 days, we have covered the speaking along with the writing and reading section. Today, we are covering the do and don'ts for the listening section, the entire listening section, the 8 tasks from the listening section. And for this purpose, I'm bringing in our master PTE trainer in the listening section, Atik.
Okay, Ali, thank you so much. Dear viewers, hopefully the first two sessions that we did on the do's and don'ts in PTE were really informative and beneficial for you. The purpose of this series is to give you that precise idea about what should you be really focusing on a particular PTE task and what should you be avoiding, hence do's and don'ts series. And as Ali mentioned, we are jumping to the listening section. So let's not wait further. Straight away jump to the first task in listening section, Ali. It is summarize spoken text. And we know that summarize spoken text contributes significantly towards our listening as well as our writing section. For that purpose, we must ensure that the information that we write matches what the recording is saying. So for content match, we must write down and we write down the main ideas and take notes of them. What we don't want to do, just like summarize written text, just like in summarize written text as well, is come up with our own ideas. So it is not about how we perceive the recording and what we've understood, and we don't have to sort of paraphrase and rewrite it. However, we want to just simply report what was just said. So we want to write down only the main ideas. That's what we need to do with regards to summarize spoken text. And while you're trying to take notes, what we must ensure is not to misquote any information. Because if we look into Pearson's marking guideline, what they say, misrepresentation of information will result in us getting 0 for content. And we all know that getting a 0 for content would make the entire task marking guidelines redundant. So we don't want to misquote. We don't want to write down partial information to a degree, which is the reason why we always preach from our center to take complete and meaningful notes. Remember, Ali, we keep on mentioning that don't take keywords. Keywords, this idea and this notion of taking keywords it's corrupting the student's mind. What you want to focus on is the main ideas, and main ideas do not come in keywords, they come in form of sentences or phrases. So they would be what it would be meaningful form. So guys, hopefully this is what you want to pay attention to. We're going to practice a question right now for you. So please be ready with your pen and paper. I'm going to play your recording and then I will just quickly brush up on what were the main ideas of that recording and what should you have not done. Okay, so be ready guys. Playing you the recording in 3, 2, 1.
The U.S. birth rate has fallen to a record low, says a new Pew study, with the biggest decline felt among immigrant women hit hard by the recession. According to the report, the overall rate of births per 1,000 women ages 15 to 44 fell by 8% between 2007 and 2010. Currently, the numbers are some of the lowest since records began in 1920. Many cite the recession of 2008 as a main factor to why births for the U.S.-born Latinas, in particular, have dropped so rapidly, as Hispanics have had larger percentage declines in household wealth than white, black, or Asian households in recent years. Meanwhile, another change in the American household: more singles. Data now shows that fewer adults in the country are married, 51% compared to 72% in 1960. And that Americans on average are getting married at a later age than ever. And in related matters, the phenomenon of adult professionals living with roommates well into their 30s and 40s is becoming more and more common, and not just in New York City.
Okay, excellent. Now, I hope that you guys have notes that are similar to what's right in front of your screen. So I have jotted down all the main ideas from the recording. Now, what the difference, Ali, could be from the students' notes and what's the notes that are available over here would be that the students might be thinking that, numbers, a lot of numbers were shared in this recording, 8%, 20%, 30s to 40s. So guys, usually figures are related with a fact. So to prove the fact, or to prove a notion, to prove a main point, the speaker uses these figures and data. So guys, what we want to do is to actually get what that information was, rather than getting the backup information which was supporting that main idea. So guys, just like Ali has discussed the other day with regards to summarized written text, so this would be subordinating ideas. We want only the main ideas. So that's what we need to do. We need to focus on the topic and the relevant information. And while we're trying to do that, we also must pay attention, Ali, to not to misquote. And this is where I have I've scratched off the topic statements few words. Sometimes the students, this is what they do when they think of keywords, right? Again, I go back to that keyword. They might end up taking note as US record, and they might say the lecture talks about US record, which is low, or according to the lecture, it is about US record, which is low. However,
in retail lecture, we have disjointed elements. Here we are talking about misquoted elements.
Excellent, exactly, Ali. And this will result in misrepresentation. Totally, you would be getting zeros. So this is not about the US records. It's about US birth rate that has fallen to a record low. So, this is what we mean by don't misquote the topic. Hopefully this was informative for you for summarized spoken text. And as we move along, guys, I would highly recommend that you participate in this session. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions, and we will be more than happy to answer those questions. So Ali, we're going to move along, zip through. And the second question type on our listening section is listening multiple choice, select multiple answers. Now, we do know that in this question type, we would be listening to a recording, and based on that recording, we will be answering a question. Now, this is a concept that is not something that the students totally grasp, and you are very familiar with this concept, Ali. What the students think is that for multiple choice, multiple answers, we have to match the number of multiple options that matches the recording. This is the misconception. So in order for you to do well, so the do is do read the question and understand exactly what was asked in that audio, okay? So we need to read the question properly and find out what's the information that the speaker is, what you have to find from that recording. While you are doing so, and once the recording has finished, what you must not do is lose track of time. So sometimes what happens is the students, they might be confused, and as a result of that, they overanalyze and overthink, and they end up spending extra time in trying to find the answers. So we do not want to spend extra time in trying to solve questions. However, we do want to pay attention to the question itself and find the answer according to the question being asked. Yes, Ali.
So just got one question. What time do you suggest to be spent after the recording is over?
So after the recording has finished, the maximum time we would want to allow us to spend on a multiple choice question is 25 to 30 seconds. Now, I'm not saying that you must take that, because ideally we want to go and get it done within 15 to 20 seconds. However, if we are not sure within the first 30 seconds, let's make sure that we just select one option and then move forward. Because Ali, we have negative marking for multiple choices if it is not correct. Okay, so guys, here is the question for you right now. So do read the question and find out what the question itself is asking. And I will play the recording in 3, 2, 1.
What if you could make your sleep more efficient? As a sleep scientist, this is the question that has captivated me for the past 10 years. Because while the light bulb and technology have brought about a world of 24-hour work and productivity, it has come at the cost of our naturally occurring circadian rhythm and our body's need for sleep. The circadian rhythm dictates our energy level throughout the day. And only recently, we've been conducting a global experiment on this rhythm, which is putting our sleep health and ultimately our life quality in jeopardy. Because of this, we aren't getting the sleep we need, with the average American sleeping a whole hour less than they did in the 1940s. For some reason, we decided to wear it as a badge of honor that we can get by on not enough sleep. This all adds up to a real health crisis. Most of us know that poor sleep is linked to diseases like Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, stroke, and diabetes. And if you go untreated with a sleep disorder like sleep apnea, you're more likely to get many of these illnesses. But did you know about sleep's impact on your mental states? Poor sleep makes us make risky, rash decisions and is a drain on our capacity for empathy. When sleep deprivation literally makes us more sensitive to our own pain, it's not so surprising that we have a hard time relating to others and just generally being a good and healthy person when we're sleep deprived.
Okay, so you have maximum 25 to 30 seconds. So ideally, what you would have wanted to do was to pay attention to the question. And if we reflect upon the recording, the information was Ali shared right towards the end. So it's not necessary that the answer to the question would be spread across the entire recording, but could be into certain sections. In this case, it was right towards the end. So guys, please, let's put up our answers in the comment box and see where we are at.
I think C and E.
We'll see. Okay, 10 more seconds, guys. All right, so the answers, you're absolutely right, Ali. They were C and E. So as we progressed, it was introducing about sleep deprivation. The recording was itself about sleep deprivation and the effects. However, the relations between sleep or lack of sleep and mental health, they came right towards the end. The beginning of the lecture was discussing the physical diseases. However, the effects of poor sleep towards mental health came towards the end. And you're right, absolutely. C and E are the correct answers. So guys, what we don't want to do is, just miss the time management. We just want to make sure we get it done within 30 seconds. So that's what we must do with multiple choice multiple. And let's move on. Ali, the next question we have is fill in the blanks. And this question type it's quite sensitive, because if you lose track of the transcript, is a highly likely chance that you are lost, and then you will not be able to grasp all the words. So be very, very careful about how you approach fill in the blanks. And what we want you to do is do note down the missing words on the given erasable notebook. So if you're a first-time test taker, you might not be aware that in the exam, you'll be given a big booklet, an erasable booklet, and you'll be given a Sharpie, and you'll have plenty of space to write down. Okay, so what you do need to do is you have to take notes in your exercise copy. Why? Simply because if you decide to type, it might create distraction, and you might be inclined to look into your keyboard and then look up. And if you do that, if you take your eyes away from the screen, boy, you will just be lost out of your track. Okay, so we don't want to do that. What we want to do is keep our eyes fixed on the screen, follow the transcript and match it with the speaker, and then as and when you come and get that blank, just write down the word without looking into your exercise copy, without taking your eyes off the screen. What you must not do, what you don't want to do is don't ignore the importance of spelling and capitalization. So it's very important that you pay attention to the spelling. Now, Ali, you are also very familiar with this, is that a lot of the time students do not pay attention to suffix sounds or plurals. And this results in the students missing out on the entire mark for a particular word. So guys, you must ensure that you are very attentive, especially when the word comes. Okay, so write down. I would advise to write down by mumbling so that you can enhance your concentration. Right, and this is what we will do right now, guys. I will play you a recording for this question type. And what you must do is take notes in your exercise copy. And immediately after the recording has finished, you will just put your answers on the comment box, and we will find out, how many answers you got correct. All right. So be ready with your pen and paper. I'll play the recording in 3, 2, 1.
Having to attend rehearsals can be a drag when you're busy, but it's very important for a choir, and once you're there, the music soon lifts your spirits. There was only one occasion when our sessions were a bit unpleasant, when a gifted singer with a huge ego tried to take over. Luckily, at the conductor's suggestion, he decided to leave and look for a choir more suited to his talents. Mostly what I gained from the experience is the pleasure of being with like-minded people preparing for a performance, although time constraints mean we don't really get to know each other. And then on the big night, the euphoria when we realize that we've done something rather wonderful.
Okay, now that the recording has finished, we advise our students to take around 25 seconds maximum time. And that 25 seconds is for you to transfer your notes into the computer. So let's assume that this is what you're doing. So comment box, put up your answers, and then we will check together.
Okay.
We'll take 10 more seconds, guys. Okay, so let's share the answers, Ali, and this is what we have. Now, as you can see, interestingly, almost all the words, they have plurals. And especially with the third blank, we have conductor's suggestion. Now, this also is a case where we have an apostrophe to be used. And if we if we make a mistake in missing out on that apostrophe, that would be a 0 for that word. So guys, we really need to be attentive and take notes in your exercise copy. Once you're done, transfer the words, then make sure you're doing all your spelling and capitalization checks, okay? And that's the deal here with fill in the blanks, top do's and don'ts. We move forward to the next question, Ali, and the next question type we have is highlight correct summary. So guys, highlight correct summary question is also contributing relatively towards our reading section. So what we do need to do for a correct summary question, something that the students don't do enough, is they don't take notes. They rely on just listening and then trying to match the words of the speaker with the different options that are available. Now, I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is that there will be a few options, maybe 1 or 2 options, which will have words almost similar or maybe exactly as what the speaker is saying. And the students would be tempted to select those options. However, what we must also understand is what's the purpose of this task. So this is a highlight correct summary question, whereby we need to identify the correct summary or one of the options which summarizes the entire recording. So if we go by the definition of a summary must constitute all the main ideas, right? So what happens is if you listen and try to find the answers, there's a likely chance that one of the options would match the recording. However, this will only be partial information. Okay, so the concept of summary is to paraphrase and bring down something that is big to something that is small. So the information will be paraphrased. And also a correct summary is also going to have all the key points. Okay, so ideally something from the beginning of the lecture and something from the middle and of course something from the end. So I wouldn't advise the students. So I would advise the students to take notes. Do take notes, just like written lecture summarize spoken text. What we must not do is don't read the options before or while the recording is going on. Okay, so that would create distraction. Again, if you are paying attention, so that's what you're listening. And then at the same time, if you try to read, it creates a bit of blockade in your brain. Your brain is not, you will not be able to process, to listen as well as to read. This cannot happen simultaneously. So when you're listening, pay attention, listen, okay, and understand, and ideally take some notes. Once you're done with listening, we allow, or we give the students 45 seconds window to find out the correct summary. So you have ample amount of time to make your selections. Don't try to select the answers while the recording is going on. So guys, keeping all these do's and don'ts with regards to highlight correct summary, let's put things into practice. So again, understand, ideally take notes. I will play the recording now in 3, 2, 1.
Well, employers are currently experiencing a love-hate relationship with social media. Some are using it to their advantage. They're reaching more customers, increasing sales, and improving their brand image through social networking sites. They're also using them for recruitment. On the other hand, many employers continue to see the bad side of social media and believe that it poses a threat to their business. Negative comments online can damage a brand, and employers also worry that employees might spend too much time online during working hours, stopping them from working effectively and completing all their tasks. But this problem provides employers with an opportunity. Employees who spend a lot of time on social networking sites do it because they're bored. They don't feel challenged and want to fill their time. This suggests that employers should take a more active role in providing development opportunities for their staff and setting new goals. This way, they can benefit from the advantages of social media without experiencing the difficulties.
Okay, so now that the recording has finished, you start to scan through the options. Keep in mind about partial information or opposite information, as we've talked. And as soon as you are able to identify the answer, put your answer in the comment box.
Employers continue to see the bad side of social media and believe
Okay, we take 10 more seconds, guys.
Okay. Stephen got an answer which I think is right. I don't know. Let's see.
Okay, so let's share the answer, guys. Yes, Ali, you are indicating that option D is the answer. You're absolutely right. Now, some of us, we might be inclined to select, let's say, option C. And it sounds, because it is exactly as what the speaker is saying. It says, employers understand the threat of social media has on their business due to negative comments, and they worry about that the employees might waste too much time online. It is true. However, it is not entirety of the recording, because the question itself began with the positives that social media can bring about, so which is missing from here. And same goes out for I believe for option A as well. And so this is what we meant by partial information, and this could be misleading, and you might end up selecting wrong answers. So the entire recording is going to be considered for a correct summary. So good job, guys, and hopefully you understand what the criteria here are. Do take notes. Do not try to scan the option while the recording is being played. Okay, excellent. We move forward, Ali, to the next topic, which is multiple choice, select single answer. And for this question type, it is the same sort of concepts that we've discussed for multiple choice, select multiple answers. However, in this case, as there are no negative markings, we would just simply select one option. So quickly, what we must do is skim through the options before the recording starts, including the question. Okay, so we ought to read the question and then read the options and just scan through them quickly, just so that we are aware of what's coming next. Okay, and then when the recording is playing, just make sure that you focus only on parts of the recording that's focusing on the question itself. Okay, so the question right here is asking what happens in Prophase. So we ought to find out information that relates to Prophase. Okay, what we must not do is don't just blindly select options. hey, you cannot click next, so you cannot skip questions when for the entire listening section. So since you are made to listen to the entire recording, why don't we try and understand the recording and find information which could be relevant? And once we've understood it, hey, it would be convenient for you to select the answers. If not, just make a selection and then move forward. So here we go, guys. Let's be ready to find out information that relates to the question. 3, 2, 1.
We are going to discuss mitosis. Mitosis is a process of cell division. As a result of cell division, 2 daughter cells are produced from a single parent cell. The daughter cells are identical to one another and to the original parent cell. Mitosis includes 4 phases called prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Let's discuss each phase here. In prophase, each chromosome duplicates to form 2 sister chromatids. In metaphase, the chromosomes line up at the equatorial plate and are held by microtubules and the centromere. In anaphase, the centromeres divide and sister chromatids separate and move toward the matching poles. Finally, in telophase, daughter chromosomes arrive at the poles and the microtubules disappear. The chromatin expands. The cytoplasm divides and the cell membrane pinches inward, producing 2 daughter cells.
Okay, let's quickly scan through the options and make a quick selection. We strongly recommend students to give your answer or make a selection within 10 to 15 seconds, because the weightage for multiple choice select single answer is insignificant. However, paying attention and finding out the information from the recording with reference to the question is convenient for you. Okay, guys, 5 more seconds.
Okay.
All right. So the first stage of those 4 stages was prophase, and prophase was about duplicating the chromosomes into chromatids. And I think we've got few correct answers from the students. Well done to you guys. So paying attention and looking only for specific information relating to the question. Very good job. Let's move forward, Ali. We go on to the next question type, which is select missing words. And I really want you to understand the do's and don'ts in this one, because just simply focusing on the do's and don'ts would be enough for you, enough information for you to answer this question type. Because again, just like multiple choice single answer, this one does not have that much weightage. So we just simply want to know what's that one thing we should do and what's that one thing we should avoid. So while you're while you're answering select missing word, do try to understand the theme of the lecture. Okay, so the best way to approach this question type is if you try and understand the purpose of the lecture, because at the end of the day, the missing word, which is the last word or group of words of the sentence, would be a contextual word. It's not going to be like it's a collocation. It's not a collocation task. However, it's something that's relating to the entire recording. Okay, so do understand and find out the theme and purpose of the recording. Okay, that will allow you to solve this question easily. What you must not do is don't select an option based on collocation, as mentioned earlier. Okay, and it might be a trick, and the system might be trying to trick you. So Ali, let's say if I say school, right? So let's say if you say school, maybe you're thinking about school bus. Or school timetable, right? So these are the words that are coming up in your mind. However, if I'm listening to a recording and the context could be different, so what we don't want to do is just try and relate words or the last word that's missing with a collocation. Okay, so keeping this knowledge, guys, just simply relax and understand what's going on. It will help you to answer the question. So be ready. I play the recording now in 3, 2, 1.
Not all wild animals can become domestic animals. In fact, only 14 species are fully domestic, according to one scientist. He says that 6 things must be true before it can happen. Without these 6 things, it's impossible for an animal to become domestic. Firstly, the animal must eat inexpensive food that's readily available, so humans can feed it easily. Secondly, the animal must grow fast because slow-growing animals are unhelpful to humans. It also needs to breed easily. If the animal doesn't have babies, the species will soon disappear. The animal shouldn't be frightened when placed in a small space because this is dangerous to humans. Finally, it helps if the animal lives in a group in its natural environment. If the group has a social structure, the human can become its leader. If one animal in the group accepts the human as leader, the others will probably...
Let's have our answers, guys, quickly. So if someone is leader, what do? What do? We follow the leader, right? We follow the leader. So that's the answer here. And keep in mind, guys, select missing words. We want to answer instantly. We don't want to take anything more than 5 to 10 seconds, okay? And straight away, you must process the information, process the question, and as soon as you come up with the answer. So good job to all of you. Hopefully you understand the criteria for select missing words. We move along to the next question type, which is it's in context of the entire exam. It's quite important towards your reading section, even though it is a listening question type. So highlight incorrect word constitutes significantly towards your reading section, okay? And it also has a certain contributions towards your listening section. So what should we do and what should we avoid? What we must do is don't listen to every single word, word by word. So keep in mind, for highlight incorrect words, the mistakes will not happen in grammar words. So you are not going to find an article being flipped, okay? Neither will you get any grammatical errors, such as missing out on plurals. So what we want to do is not go with word by word, but rather look into chunks of information, or maybe pay a bit more attention to verbs and adjectives, which could be easily replaced, okay? So that's something that we ought to do. What we must not do is don't read the text aloud while listening. Now, this would definitely create chaos, because at the same time, you're trying to concentrate what the speaker is saying, and then you are trying to match your script with what the speaker is saying. So if you start to speak, something that I highly recommend when you take notes is when you mumble, that's you're listening to your own voice. It's not going to help you out for highlight incorrect words. You need absolute silence, but at the same time, what you ought to be doing is listen to the recording, but you read the text just one word ahead of the speaker. So do listen to every single word, but at the same time, you must not read aloud while the recording is going on. So keeping this information, guys, right now I do understand that it's a selective task where you have to click on the buttons, but to your best abilities, let's see if you can make some mental notes. What I would advise to you, if you're using a smartphone right now, or even if you're on your laptop, why don't you take a screenshot? I'll ask you to do that. So take a screenshot and then you can scratch it, okay? And then of course I will share the answers, and that way you will find out how many answers you've got correct, okay? So beginning the recording in 3, 2, 1.
The victory of the underdog over the favored team. The last-minute penalty shot that wins the tournament. The high-energy training montages. Many people love to glorify victory on the playing field, cheer for favorite teams, and play sports. But here's a question. Should we be so obsessed with sports? Is playing sports actually as good for us as we make it out to be, or just a fun and entertaining pastime? What does science have to say? First of all, it's well accepted that exercise is good for our bodies and minds, and that's definitely true.
You see, we ought to pay attention right till the end. It could be the very last word, or in this case, for this question type, the second last word was incorrect. And if our attention span is not equally spread for the entire recording, you will miss out on valuable marks. So let's quickly find out what the mistakes were. And this is what the case is here. So I have crossed off the words that were incorrect, and the words were said. These were the words. Okay, so hopefully you've tick marked on your mobile or on your laptop. So these were the answers. So guys, the bottom line is this: just make sure that you are doing the reading, matching the words with the recording. However, at the same time, do not read aloud. That's the advice for highlight incorrect word. We move along to the very last question type for the entire exam, and hopefully by now we've performed very well. And here comes the question that could be a make or break for the entire scorecard, right? So you must have done well. Let's assume that you've followed all the advices that we've given to you up till now, and you arrived to write from dictation. However, your approach is not right and you're not doing the things correctly, you will miss out on your score, because write from dictation has high weightage, especially towards your listening and writing section. So what should we do? So you do follow the oral sequencing of words in the recording, because the sentence at the end, if the sequencing breaks, there's a likely chance that due to lack of subject verb object agreement, the sentence may not be meaningful, and you might end up getting most of the scores. Okay, so we want to make sure that our listening skills are molded in such a way that we are always getting the sequencing of all the words. Okay, so Ali has Ali has shared short-term memory building skills, and we had a discussion with regards to how can we listen and take notes. We've shared all those note-taking skills with you guys. So make sure that you build a solid note-taking skills so that you can ensure the sequencing of words correctly. Okay, and what we should not do is we must not forget to check our grammar and spelling. So this is one of those hidden factors that the students tend to neglect. Why? Because there is no autocorrect for you, and everything that you look on the screen looks correct. Okay, and the grammar rules, those commas and punctuations you use, even to the degree use of a full stop, it's so taken for granted by us because of those autocorrect systems or Grammarlies, is that we do not check for them. So guys, I really want to ensure that I really want you to understand that you must not forget to check for grammar and spelling. Okay, so let's try a sentence right here. Right now you can type in the sentence, and I'll play you the recording right now, and you can type in your sentence on the comment box. Okay, here we go. Be ready. 3, 2, 1.
Students should take advantages of the online resources before attending the lecture.
Okay, so hopefully you may have taken the notes in your exercise copy. Let's start to type the sentence onto the comment box. So what we were looking for was students should take advantages of the online resources before attending the lecture. Now you could take that sentence down in a form of initials and then forming those or converting those initials into full words and then typing the words. However, what we must not do is the sentence that the same sentence I have written it down at the bottom, and it reads, students should take advantages of the resources online before attending the lecture. So I have flipped the words, and this oral sequencing or missing out on the oral sequencing would result you in missing out the scores, even though you have all the words. So one of the aspects of write from dictation is actually writing as you were dictated. It's not only simply about you typing all the words that were spoken, but the words dictated in correct sequence. Okay, so we must follow not only dictation but also the sequencing, oral sequencing of information. Hopefully this is clear enough for you. My advice: build a note-taking skill that ensures sequencing. Okay, so do follow oral sequencing. Now, while you're trying to do that, there is one more write from dictation I want you guys to practice as well. So be ready with your pen and paper, and the recording is coming at your way in 3, 2, 1.
Tours operate all year round, but the busier dry season runs from May.
Okay, so hopefully you've already taken the sentence notes on your exercise copy. Let's get started with typing the sentence on the comment box. And as you can see from my screen as well, so if I play the sentence one more time and we hear that sentence.
Tours operate all year round, but the busier dry season runs from May.
Says, tours operate all year round, but the busiest season runs from May. Now, a lot of grammatical and spelling aspects goes around to this sentence. The first and foremost thing is that the structure of this sentence is that it's got two independent sentences being joined together. Tours operate all year round. So tours operate all year round. It itself is an independent sentence. The busiest season runs from May. That itself is an independent sentence. However, as the sentence was spoken at one flow and was joined together with the help of a connector, as we can see two independent sentences being joined with the help of a connector, we've got to put a comma before the connector. This is the grammar rule, right? And also there are other elements. For an example, some of you may have written down, but the busiest season run from May. Now, it was said runs from May. You miss out on that plural, you miss out on that suffix, that's a zero, that's a spelling mistake. Okay, equally would be a spelling mistake if you do not capitalize the month May. Now, if you write down May in lowercase, the system is not going to show that to you. Okay, you have to have that presence of mind to capitalize that. Okay, and of course, goes without saying, the first word needs to be capitalized and you need to put the full stop. So a lot of grammar checks needs to be performed for right from dictation, but nonetheless, if you have the right approach, you would ensure that they have all been taken care of. So do follow the oral sequencing. Don't forget to check the spelling. So I believe it's been a comprehensive lesson for the entire listening section. Ali, any input? Ali, do you want to wrap it up?
Okay, from my side, thank you so much, Atiq. It was very useful session and it was very useful 3 days. So just imagine over the 3 days, in less than 3 hours, we have covered the 20 topics. All what you need to do is to stick to the 20 do's, because we have covered 20 do's, and make sure you don't do what we have asked you not to do. If you do so over the coming period, you must be on top of those 20 tasks. Thank you so much, Atiq. And just one more note, guys, now the availability has increased, like Pearson now is offering more slots in different states. So I think now it's time to get more serious. And that's why we are like maximizing our online live sessions, just to make sure that students are getting the benefit. So I think the exam centers are reopening to the full capacity hopefully soon. So make sure, guys, you are getting your full capacity and your full energy on this exam.
Okay, that's a good message. Thank you, Ali. And thank you, viewers, for tuning into our do's and don'ts sessions. And we will continue to support you and bring about new innovations and new ways to help you out. Thank you very much and all the best.